Hello, everyone. Testing audio. 1, 2, 3. Hello. Oh, I'm Gemma Star, and welcome to another episode of Heart Warriors. I'm so excited how this series is going. If you haven't seen any other episodes, please check them out. And the quality of men that are being drawn to this series is amazing. My heart is just expanding, and wow, we're in for a beautiful ride with our men, rising heart, truth, and spine. Anyway, this is Kata Judah, and this was the start of it all. The energies coming through from this beautiful sacred masculine site in Central Australia, which is very close to Uluru, which is the sacred feminine site. And there's a bit of a story behind it, but these are the energies that are with us, and we're so very blessed to have these powerful masculine energies coming through and healing all of us that are here, and all our men and women across the world. What I'm here to do is to give a platform to our men so men can speak man to man. For too long now, it's been us women telling men how to be men, and it's got to stop. And men need to hear it from other men, men that are walking the heart path ahead of them, men that can hear to share their experiences, their pain, their deepest, darkest moment. How did they overcome that? What wisdom, insights, tools, practices have they now got to share with men and women that are walking this healing path together? Today's guest is Wasim Syed, and he is quite well known in the truther community because he does a lot of fantastic videos around food and health, and now he's also getting into some other aspects. So he's already told me some things he wants to cover in this show today. So he's told me he is keen to touch on poisoning our foods, the feminizing men agenda, the power of semen retention, and how to build testosterone. So let's welcome Wasim on and enjoy the show. Hey, Wasim, welcome to Heart Warriors.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, well, you know, I've been following you for a while now, so I know you're just perfect for this show. And I know, and I did mention in the intro, I know there's all topics you'd like to touch on, but let's find out a bit about the man you are today, and then we'll discover what shaped you into this beautiful example of masculinity. So how would you describe the man you are sitting here in front of us?
It's definitely a complete. It's definitely a transformation. Definitely a process that never ends in regards to evolving, but at the same time never stopping. So I could tell you about how I feel now. Actually, yeah, that'd be good. We'll start there. I'm at the point in my life where I've reprogrammed my mind to be in the positive side of things, in the aspect of seeing the positive of every negative situation or any situation, give or take. And that requires a lot of practice, especially coming from where I used to come from, which most people come from, which is a programming of negativity. So changing that, I can say I'm at a point in my life where things have really transformed and shifted in my life to the point where I can say that the masculine within me, it definitely feels masculine. It feels real. And the fact that I get to really be myself and become more of a man every single day, and I see it and I feel it, it's incredible. So if we're talking about right now, I'm at a very happy point in my life where I'm grateful, happy, blessed, and just thankful.
That's so good to hear. I love it because, you know, we've been following your journey for a little while now. Let's get back to your childhood, Wasim. What would you say was your greatest challenge?
The whole challenge itself, the childhood itself was a challenge. Not even saying that it was a harsh childhood, just childhood in general is a challenge. Because I grew up in a town that was mostly Caucasians, Jewish Caucasians in a rich area. I was the odd one out. I didn't even live in the same town. So being so isolated from people, there was always the desire to chase people or the desire for people, for attention. And that was always feeling so different. When you know that you're such a different soul, at first you feel like you need to fit in because you don't fit in. So you're wondering why you don't fit in. So you're always trying to, that was me. I was always childhood, always wanting to hang out with friends, always trying to be friends with everybody. But even still, the connections were just very, very different. And that was one of the biggest challenges for sure. Social interaction, because I was very good at socially interacting with people. It's just the connection was always off. And another challenge, which is so interesting, I think every man can relate to this, is when they get to their teenage years, that's the time where the attraction for the female starts coming in with the puberty and everything like that. But coming from my culture, I could say that my culture is Pakistani based, so there is an Islamic background to it in aspects of when you look at the diet that I was consuming, we would start the day with Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Kellogg's Fruit Loops. Very, very processed. It's not food. It's just chemicals disguised as food. And I'd eat that every single morning with very low quality milk, non-fat. Drink that, and when you actually measure out how many carbs, how many sugars you're pouring in, it comes out to about 300 to 400 grams of carbs, and there's no nutrients in it. None of these foods have any nutrients. If anything, they cause ADHD, more problems and insecurities because it's bad energy. It's franken food, so you're definitely not gonna feel well. And I realized because of that, I was always the skinny kid. I was very frail, tiny. Uh, I wasn't attracting women of my age at the time, but my friends were. So it was very interesting to grow up feeling like a loser because it made no sense to me because I knew deep down that I knew I was a very genuine man, so, or a teenager at the time. So it was like I treat people nicely. Why wouldn't they want to be with me? And then I look at myself and I'm like, oh wow, I'm a little skinny. And I had a conversation with a girl when I was 14, 15, and I was already it was about 10th grade at that time, I think, and we were talking about what she finds attractive, what she doesn't find attractive in a man or a guy at that point, and she said when they're skinnier than me. And that hit me. I was like, why? I said, why? And she said, how's he going to protect me? I was like, oh, I completely didn't realize that that's part of being a male, to be able to protect. So I started going to the gym after that. That changed my life. Instant shift. And then I started to, that was the muscle bodybuilding phase, because I assumed that doing that, I would find more ways to fit into society and attract the people that I wanted to attract. So that's why childhood is so interesting, because when you look at all these aspects of childhood as a man, as an insecure boy, then doing all these ridiculous things to attract people's attention or going to the extremes to get people's attention. It's definitely what I did. And I don't regret any of it, because being an outsider so much and trying to fit in, you learn what does not work. And it took me a very long time to learn about what did not work for me. And that obviously grew into college. where now it was time to get laid often. Now it was time to have the fun. But it didn't happen as much as I thought it would. Reality kicked in even in college, and the anxiety was still there. The which I didn't know was from pornography. I had no idea that watching adult entertainment, which is not what it is, actually makes you more anxious, because if you think about the brain and you're simulating, you're rewarding yourself for watching something like that, and your brain gets excited, but because it's not physically there, you're confused, your body is confused. That's why when when those types of people interact with real women, they get very, very awkward, or they don't know what to do. It's very fascinating when you look at the brain science behind that. But going back, that was another thing about childhood to teenage years that was a challenge. Porn, because it was very accessible on the computer by the time I was 12, 13 years old. That's a very young age to start watching this type of stuff. But a lot of guys can relate to this.
Yeah.
And those challenges all manifested into the childhood. That's why, to answer your question, it's the childhood itself. So there you go. There's your answer.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for that. I did pick up on something you said, that you learned what didn't work as far as attractive women. You did mention, being too skinny. Were there other things that you discovered on your journey that didn't work, that were sort of surprising to you?
It's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. Wow, that's a really good question. So yes, I got into the pickup community from reading a book called The Game. And I thought that that was the way to attract women, where you basically memorize lines and use something wacky to get the person's attention. And the more you do it, that's supposed to help with your anxiety, it's supposed to make you better. It never really did. That was an illusion, because you're being fake.
Yes.
So much, and women can detect that very, very, very well. Intuitively, a female can read bullshit faster than males can. They tend to be more connected, so it makes sense for them. That's why for women, they get to choose who they sleep with, because they can sense the connection, versus a man that doesn't really, can lack the awareness. But yeah, that was another big challenge. So the obsession with women was the chase, the obsession of it. And that was another one. Another was, joining a fraternity in college, joining a group, thinking that would get me laid. It all goes back to the craving for sex.
Yeah.
And that is so detrimental, because it can distract you from being the best version of yourself, when it's like, oh, I should be doing this, I should be training, I should be building myself. No. Chase women, chase women.
Yeah. Wasim, what would you say to any young men watching this that are feeling that stress of, obviously they want women because their hormones are raging, but they're not getting the women. And I can imagine there's always the men that are getting the women and the men that aren't. And for a young man, that must be a real hit on his identity, on his trying to understand why. As you said, what would you say to a young man, a teenage boy, man that's going through this now?
Fix your hormones. That's the best answer I can give, because when I changed my diet, my life changed. And everybody has their own diets that work for them. I cannot say vegan diet works the best. I can't say anything works best, but I can tell you what worked for me personally. I looked up the most nutrient-rich foods that would optimize my hormones, instead of these chemicals that were screwing up my hormones. Because when you find out a lot of the chemicals that are in the foods, especially estrogen, what it does in your body, especially the depletion of testosterone. Most of these franken foods deplete your testosterone as a male, and that's your masculine energy. It's the masculine hormone, testosterone. Very important. It's important for signaling human growth hormone activation, and men have significantly higher levels of it versus women. That's why men are biologically stronger, and they're meant to protect, they're meant to provide. So, and that's the first piece of advice. Start looking up the foods that will regulate your hormones. Usually that entails an organic diet, organic meaning it comes from the earth. Usually entails nutrient rich foods. You can look that up yourself. It's not really that difficult. And then you start substituting all the bad foods to the processed stuff, and you change that. When you change that, everything else becomes easier, because at that point you'll also be implementing fasting because you won't be as hungry. So when you're not as hungry because you're eating nutrients, so you feel full, which is good. When you feel full, you don't get hungry as often. You allow your body to do what it does: build, regenerate, recreate. But if you're eating processed foods that have nothing in it, your body gets hungry again because it's searching for that, because you put something in it to trigger insulin. So it goes to grab the food, but there's no nutrients. So you're hungry again, hungry and hungry. That's how you fix it. And then number two would be go to the gym. Go to the gym. Train. Learn how to train. Learn how to train properly, because there's the endorphins that kick in when you exercise. It's mind blowing. It's a high,
Yeah.
and it's a very euphoric high. It makes you feel more like a man, especially when you get the body that you love, which actually takes a long time, because it's not just the physical, it's the mental. Learning to love yourself, your body will love you back and carve itself into the best version, mold itself into the best version if you do that. So fixing hormones, going to the gym. I this is very tough, but quitting the porn, quitting that helps so much. But even for teenagers, when their hormones are crazy and you have easy access to it on a black screen in front of you, you have to really learn to take care of your brain, because if you eat high brain rich nutrient foods, that helps. If you meditate and take care of your brain, that'll help you. You have to find ways to release that energy without uh, using it with porn and all that. You use something that is rewarding, like working out. You take that energy and you transmute it into exercising,
Mm.
and your body gets stronger really, really fast. When you start eating well and you avoid the bad foods and you train properly, you build really fast. It doesn't have to take years. It can be very, very quick. So it's another piece of advice. Another is optimal sleep. To get sleep, over 8 hours of sleep, in my opinion, because your body goes through a lot of transformations when you're sleeping. Your body builds when it's sleeping. Your mind builds when it's sleeping. Your sleep is so important and so crucial. And people sleep like what, 4 hours, five? I've heard crazy stories about that. And sleep also increases your testosterone. So you always find ways to increase your testosterone. What can make you feel more like a man? And that would require getting stronger. That would require becoming braver, more brave. That would require uh, becoming confident in yourself. How do you do that? Learn to love yourself. It's all it it works. You just have to get rid of the poisons. You get rid
Yes.
of that, you'll be able to figure everything out, because you're eating well, you're taking care of yourself, your brain, you're very intelligent. You'll be able to figure it out. If I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out.
And it really is it a matter of just starting somewhere? I mean, any of those things you said, we could expand a whole show on them, but just choose, is it a matter of just choosing one to start with, like, for example, diet? And when you change your diet, you start raising your frequency, which then attracts changes in different circumstances and event situations in your life. So it's really just a big spiral up, right? You can incorporate any of those to start with, and then just bring in different aspects.
What I find very interesting is when I walk around and I see what's around me, I see the masculine drained out of men. I see it around me. I live in America, very close to New York City. This is the East Coast, where everything is fast paced. There's processed food practically everywhere. I live in a town where there's a bar. Oh, alcohol. That's another thing that destroys people's vibration, destroys your manliness. It increases estrogen in the body. It increases fat storage at that point. It's just it's just bad. But going back to what I said, there's bars everywhere in my town. We have the most bars in our city personally, and you see a lot of men. A big sign that a man is low in testosterone is when you see that bald spot right here. That's called alopecia. That's when testosterone's so low, the remaining gets converted to something called DHT, which is, I believe, it's called dihydrotestosterone, and that promotes like an estrogenic effect. So men start to lose everything that makes them a man, which includes hair. The voice gets higher. It's like the opposite.
Sorry, my dog jumping on the bed.
Oh,
You see me going up and down. No, he's sorry. Now he's like killing his teddy bear. Sorry.
you do not need to apologize for that. The dogs are truly God's greatest creature.
Yeah,
So
and it's God reversed, right? Anyway, let's get back. Let's get to this. Have you got anything else to say around the loss of hair in men? And I know that's got a fancy medical name that I can't think of at the moment. You did say the bald spot up here, but what about receding hairlines? I mean, I thought it was all, we've been programmed, it's all genetic. So
that could be it too, because it could be bad genetic programming. It could be from the food as well, which changes the programming. If you think about it, you can look at it as a simulation, and you're eating a program, and it's changing the program. If you want to look at life like that, it's all perception, but it's the same thing.
Okay, so you saying that men who are, think that, or men that are losing hair, for example, can they change that program?
Yeah,
and how do they do it? How do they do that?
Okay. The first is to change your diet, eat hormone-rich foods that will regulate your hormones, which is usually an organic diet. Whatever, however, you're vegan, non-vegan, you go with the higher nutrient-rich foods. You stay away from processed foods. That's number one, and that'll help. And then all the ways I told you about increasing your testosterone, increasing testosterone actually rebuilds hair. So, and also consuming good quality protein, because protein is the building block of everything. So, but you want to consume protein sources that actually can digest in the body. And at the same time, there's another way, which is subliminal brain reprogramming the subconscious mind. And how do you do that? You basically listen to audio files that have binaural beats and specific frequencies, and you listen to it on headphones or earphones, and you listen to it in a meditative state, or right before you go to bed, and right when you wake up. And the reason you do that is because your brain waves are very close to delta, which is the dream state. So while you're in the dream state, imagine you're closer and closer into your subconscious mind. So when you're closer in there, you're waking up, you're going from subconscious back up to conscious. So while you're waking up, you're still here. That's good. That's when you can program your mind to think. That's why they tell you in the morning to visualize what you want, what you wish to manifest. That helps. Also, the programming helps too. So you can listen to programming, subliminal programming, that actually regrows your hair. And I've been doing subliminal reprogramming for 5 years.
Were you losing your hair and it's grown back, or what other aspects?
Muscle building, positive thinking, love, adding love to my life, raising vibrations. I've done so many different ones. I've listened to so many on increasing male testosterone. I've listened to male enhancement, and that's not in like a negative way. It's literally, there's even Greek god ones that literally give you the not necessarily, well, yes, the physique of the Greek god, but also feeling like a Greek god. And it also talks about increasing human growth hormone. There's ones to increase that. There's ones to get taller. There's ones to get shorter. It's all just programming.
Wow. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm very aware of the programming, but yeah, I mean, we're so limited, aren't we? We're conditioned to limit ourselves, but it might be oh yeah, I could grow some hair back, or I can get thinner, or, more muscles, but to get taller and shorter, for me anyway, I would have thought that I saw a limiting belief there, but yeah, I can smash that and really roll with it. Isn't that great? Just planting those little seeds. You know, you've planted so many seeds already in half an hour. So let's go into your adulthood. What would you say was your darkest moment as a adult?
There's two times: post college and post corporate America.
Mm.
So post college, because I didn't know what to do with my life. And that was the time where I was super insecure and into the women phase, but I already discussed that.
Yeah.
Go to the other phase, which is the when I finally got into corporate America, I still was able to see the joy in it, even though I was still partially a negative person at that time. But it was my last job, my last corporate America job it was actually near New York University, and it was in New York City. And by that time, even before that, I was listening a lot to frequencies, meditative beats. I just really liked listening to them. So I would have them on while I was doing my corporate work.
Mm.
Basically, I wasn't doing any work because nobody does any work in corporate America. That's a fact. Uh, so I just studied a lot on meditation and something about the Great Awakening. That was the first time I ever heard about it. I'm like, and then I started looking at the time and kept seeing 111, 222. I'm like, what? What is this? And then it's just question after question. I was actually next to a crystal shop. So I used to go in there all the time and just I'm like, I just start buying crystals. I don't know why I was buying them, but I was. I also yeah, I was it was like the darkest times that were starting to change, because the darkest times was actually before that, with the alcohol, drinking, and chasing women and clubbing. Because when I changed my diet, the alcohol just instantly left, because every time I tried to drink, I hated it so much. I had no desire to go out. I had no desire to go clubbing, none of that. And I just ditched all those people and was like, I'm done. And I was just done doing it. I spent a lot of time at that point researching the proper diets, and I was in corporate America, like about to leave. Then I didn't even know I was leaving, but that's when my life started to change. When I started taking care of my body, I started to become aware of all the signs, like a
Mm.
111, 222. My life feels like it's a simulation. What's going on? And in corporate, I remember I just kept listening to meditative beats over and over. And as you keep doing that, you vibrate on that. Eventually, if you listen to it enough, you'll be vibrating at 528 hertz if you're on YouTube listening to 528 hertz, which is a perfect form. It's basically based on the solfeggio scale of music.
Mhm.
So every note has a perfect harmonic tune to it. So we are like that. It's like a tuning fork.
Mm.
And I noticed that when I kept listening to it, my corporate job ended. Like, my manager came up to me and was like, "Your job is done like 2 months early." I was like, "Oh, thank God." I was like, "All right, I'm out. Bye." And I just started to really discover myself. But that's when the darkness started coming, because it's like, all right, now I feel like my life shifted. So I started to do a lot of good things, started changing a lot. As I climbed up in like the good moral scale, more obstacles started coming, where I took different jobs, which I ended up hating.
Mm.
I helped a homeless man. I actually changed a homeless man's life. I never talk about it because I don't care to preach about it, but this is the first time I'm ever bringing it up. Long story short, I actually helped a homeless man find a home and helped him change his life, which was going really, really well for him. And then all of a sudden, after 3 months, it backfired on me. But it was one of the best learning lessons, and I never was angry. I actually wasn't angry about it. I was just so happy it was over, and that itself taught me so much. And like even still, I always found the positives in these situations, even though life was getting challenging. Especially, what's very interesting is in corporate, I had money. When I left corporate, that's when the money gets taken away, and you start to struggle financially, which is secretly good because you start to see how you see money, and then you start researching money. You become aware of it when you lose it. And I had to learn for the longest time how to. I tried so many ways to make money, and I failed, which is great because they're all lessons. I went in to try to make quick money with the mindset of lack.
Yes.
So I didn't give to anyone. I would just say, "Oh, I need this, I need this." Never worked. So I'm literally an example of when people say they're going through struggles and stuff. I've been through them, so I can. You just got to keep going with the journey and just really take care of yourself. That's that's just crazy. Like so that going back to the darkest time, it was all of this and one specific thing that happened between me and my beautiful, I call her wifey. I've been with her for 5 years and it's amazing. But it was one time where I went into the relationship with the lust for women because that was an immature phase of my life. And it was also still based on childhood trauma. Not childhood trauma, I would say like addiction from a teenage year and then always seeking that pleasure. But there came a point where it backfired on me when I changed and I almost lost her. And that was the biggest lesson ever because I don't necessarily need to go into detail, but when when a man really messes up, it's one of the most humbling. It's really humbling, but it's gonna kick your ass. It really kicked my ass into shape because when when I was in a really really sad state, I prayed so much for the first time and nothing happened. So I took psychedelic mushrooms because I really wanted something to happen. I was like, I'm going to take a big dose of mushrooms and I'm going to experience God. And I did it. I was crying and I was like, show me something, anything, just a sign. Like, like you know that I changed. It's been years. I'm working on myself. I'm getting better. You just keep guiding me and I'll be able to do it. And then I literally was I just was in this place. It was a beautiful. I don't even. I don't. It looked like a kitchen, but everything was like gold and just really nice. And I was like, "Why? Where am I?" I'm looking in first person around me. I'm like, I'm not in my room. Where am I? And I look in front of me, and there's this beautiful woman with her body facing away from me, looking outside at the porch. Was it a porch? Maybe I was on a yacht. I don't know. But I walk forward. She's wearing a beautiful red dress, and I see her back tattoo, and it's 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 my wifey. It's her. I'm just like, so I just stand right beside her, and we're looking out of the window or the kitchen door. Or maybe it was a yacht, and a little girl runs up to my leg. Beautiful, looks like Pocahontas, like, or Mulan. Actually, Mulan, like, 'cause it my, uh, my, 'cause it, my, uh, my, 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 my girlfriend, she's Chinese and I'm Pakistani. So it was a beautiful little daughter. And she hugged my leg and said, "Hi, daddy." And I woke up. I was back in my room and I was like, what did I just see? And I called her instantly and I told her. And then we found out we really, really, truly love each other so much. And from my wounds, she built me up. Like she helped me become the best version of me, which is I personally believe a woman's best role or what she's really, really good at. I'm not going to say what her role is supposed to be. How about something she's really, really, really good at is being the best support for her king. I genuinely believe that I've been in this really special relationship for 5 years. We're about to have our 5 years in 3 days, which is really, really.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
May
And
I ask, Wasim, what did she do? Like, what can women do? Because sometimes we're unsure. We're told to leave men alone to deal with their shit. We're told, some women want to be a counselor to their men. What do you suggest? What can you say to women who want to help their men but don't know where to start?
wow, I've never gotten that question. That's a really, really good question. You're really good at this. I see why you were called to do this. I feel like that's more of a question for her to answer, but I could tell you from experience of being with her, she already had the values of being independent. So she loved her independence. She can cook, she can clean, she can do things really efficiently. She creates DIYs. She does things way faster and more efficient than I do. And that's somebody who challenges me because it's like, oh my God, she does things. She just is so good at being her and just doing things. And the best thing that keeps our relationship really, really strong, and this is the secret for me personally, is the fact that she's independent without me and I'm independent without her. We've had this conversation before where we said to each other, like, if if we're not together, you'll be fine
Mm.
and I'll be fine too. And she told me that too. And I agree completely. Like we talked about it. We were like, would you just be sad and sit around and mope? I'm like, no. Like she's not the type. I'm not the type. But we really, really love each other. So we really, really care when we barely fight. We never ever fight. But when we do, we both like it's very impactful for us because it's very rare, which means that it's really special when we fight because we really take it seriously. Well, I do because I'm a little too serious about it, and she goes, "You need to lighten up," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but this is why we're so different. It works." So to answer your question, independence helps a lot. When a woman really lets the man like figure it out, and when you're not chasing, they'll chase you. Men are very that men love to chase. Let it be the men because it's more fun that way. You're supposed to be that classy woman that you're so independent, you know what to do, that he just wants you because you just like you're showing you're able to do all these things so efficiently. He's going to look for that in a partner. I know I know that there's if you going back to your question, you also have to look at the fact that a lot of men don't want to change themselves. Like a lot of men are, I've heard a lot of times where women are with somebody who's lazy or someone who treats them really badly or something like that. But if they're not willing to change, you have to be able to step away from situations that, no matter what. That's one of the biggest. I don't know if that's called the toxic. There's a term for it where you keep staying because the abuse you hate it so much you love it.
Stockholm syndrome, when you fall in love with your abuser. Is that the one? Yeah.
So common. I get so shocked when I hear stories because I'm not in this type of relationship where, oh, we broke up, we're back together. We broke up, we're back to what? I don't know. And then I hear, oh, he called me this name. I'm like, I have never ever insulted my queen. I would never do that. That's someone that you are intimate with. That's somebody. It's not even to make myself sound good. It's not anything like that. It's just common sense wise. You're with somebody you're in love with, or you're with someone that you hold hands with, or someone you mate with, you reproduce with, or not even that you kiss, or you have the audacity to disrespect that person. Like, no, that does not fly in our relationship. And I encourage everyone to think twice when they disrespect their partner, whether it's the woman disrespecting the man or the man disrespecting the woman, calling them names. You do not do that. You don't. I think the bond between a man and a woman is so special where it's crazy. Like there's so many people that would put their kids first, but I know her my woman, she said that she would put me first and I would put her first because we're the ones who created this thing.
Yeah.
So and we're the ones that are building the foundation. Of course, the child is very, very important too, but that's that's how it works. When you keep being the best version of you, even if that man doesn't see it or that woman doesn't see it, someone will. It really means you got to focus on being the best version of you because I've been working on myself for, I could say 5 years with this spiritual awakening journey. I've been with her for 5 years. So she's, we've been through challenges. And me, another thing, this is so interesting. When COVID happened, a lot of relationships ended. Our relationship was put to the test with because I never ever threw this stuff on her. I never said, "Oh my God, do you know what they're doing? You need to read this." I'm very, if you want to watch it, you can. If you don't want to watch it, I understand. It's cool. So I never forced anything on her. She also eats an organic diet for the most part, and I never forced her. She just wanted to because I was doing it.
Yeah.
And that's, I've adapted so many of her traits because first off, I love her. And secondly, it's because I want to learn how to do that. Like, that's it's the ultimate connection.
Mm.
It's not that hard. It's really not that difficult. Like if I'm able to do this, anybody can do this.
Sounds beautiful. I love that journey that, we've got a glimpse into, and congratulations on your 5-year anniversary coming up. Wasim, I know that we might have limited time. We've been going 45 minutes, just so you know, but I know you had 4 topics that you wanted to cover. So if I may, I'll just remind them of you and let you fill in where you want to take this for the time that you have remaining. So poisoning our foods, feminizing men agenda, the power of semen retention, and how to build testosterone. Where would you like to start?
I can actually break those down very like short, sweet, and efficiently, but in a sense of also detailed where you get the point. So we'll start with the first one, which was
Poisoning our foods.
Poisoning our food. As I mentioned before, the processed foods are, it baffles me when people eat this stuff now because it baffles me how normalized it is. It's just, you go to any restaurant. That's another thing that people have to watch out for. You go to the restaurants, the cooking oils. What are they cooking the oil in? What kind of meat are they using if you choose to get meat? What kind of vegetables are they using if you're getting vegetables? Are they getting organic? Most likely not. What kind of dressings are they using on the salads that you think are healthy? Because when you look at those salads, you see the first ingredient, it's usually soybean oil, which is genetically modified and it's highly processed, rancid oils. These things are toxic, rancid oils, especially when you go to a restaurant and you order fried food, fried in that rancid oil that they never change. They change it every 2 days or so. That is absolute insanity. You are mutating something that your body does not recognize. That's why the number one thing that people consume that destroys them, in my personal opinion, is seed oils, the cooking oils. That includes canola oil, cottonseed oil, uh, canola oil, grapeseed, corn oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil. It's just grapeseed is another one, sunflower oil. These are just highly inflammatory oils that just do so much damage in the body.
Is olive
And
oil okay?
extra virgin olive oil I would recommend, because olive oil can be very processed, because olive oil doesn't require any, well, you have to basically see where the olive oil is from, but it should say extra virgin or cold pressed.
Okay.
That's how you want it. You want cold pressed olive oil, because real cold pressed olive oil comes out beautifully green. But you look at some olive oils they have, they're yellow. I wonder why. Because they're rancid. It's
I buy an organic olive oil. Is that the same as fine? Yeah. I don't know if it's cold pressed, but it's organic. So
it's a better option, but you really need to research where you're getting your olive oil, because a lot of them are fake. That's what's crazy. Even the avocados, majority of them are fake, mostly laced with soybean oil and stuff like that, because it's more cost efficient. That's also criminal too, but this is just what they do. And people should really start researching this stuff. One of the best documentaries you can watch is called Fat Fiction on YouTube. It's by a guy named Dr. Mark Hyman. This guy is about 62 years old. He is so fit, healthy, and you can see it on his face that he's healthy. Usually I like faces because it really shows your health. It shows your glow. It shows your lack of glow if you have one. It just shows so many things about you. So it helps a lot when you look at someone and they look healthy, and then you learn from them how they stay healthy.
You might drop that link below, Wasim. If we'll drop that link in the description, make it easy for people to access.
That would help so much. So yeah, the processed foods, it's terrible. And when you learn how they disrupt your hormones, and that includes Chipotle, that includes McDonald's, that includes all these fast food chains, because they're all just poison. And poison is one thing, it's damaging your liver, it's damaging your cells, okay, but it's changing your hormones. Especially when you're consuming this genetically modified soy, you're consuming these endocrine disruptors, which are increasing estrogen in your body and decreasing testosterone, especially for men. Men get hit with it hard. That's why they say soda kills sperm cells. Well, of course it does, especially it's all the phosphoric acid and everything inside. High fructose corn syrup that's legal in America but banned everywhere else in the world. Like, we have so many chemicals in our food. The food coloring that's in Fruity Pebbles and Fruit Loops, that's not allowed in Europe and Australia. It's not allowed. We have it here. That's why America also has the biggest obesity problem. Also, fun fact, people don't know this, but when you're overweight, you have more estrogen in your body, because all that excess fat is estrogenic, because estrogen triggers fat storage.
Wow.
So that's the processed food section.
Okay, great. So we could even do a whole show on that later. We'll be getting Wasim back for Manspeak. We'll let him pick his subject, but let's go ahead. Feminizing men agenda. And yeah, I'm really interested in this one because
what have you seen? I want to hear what you've seen about the feminizing. Have you seen anything about it besides on TV? Do you see it anywhere where you live?
Well, just through, the last 6 years of, being aware and awake, well, even longer in the truther movement. So I do understand the bigger picture that there has been an attended attack on masculinity via feminizing them. So everything from porn to food to just movies. I mean, one man brought up the fact that, every sitcom is a bumbling, idiotic dad, with a strong, oh, I'll hold it all together woman. And they've done it through our women. So they've done it also by masculizing women.
Mhm.
The balance, we've come in with some sort of attack on our men, and that's feminized them because their instinct is to please. So if we're coming on strong and attacking in our words or our actions, their natural flow is to either soften and just take it, or to rise up and be more controlling in their wounded masculine. So the whole dynamic of masculine and feminine harmonics, balance, and union has been thrown out, has been, really put a what do you say, a chicken in the, what do you say, you put a fox in the hen house. Basically, it's just turned upside down, and no one knows how to be a man or a woman until we really sort of, we have to study it and see, and then find our natural flow.
And it's funny because the sitcoms, right, like Homer Simpson, for example, or Peter Griffin, from they're fat, they drink a lot of beer. Beer is one of the most estrogenic things that you can consume,
Wow.
which increases fat storage and makes you feel less of a man. That's why the women are so overpowered. And then it's, even though it's a cartoon, people live their lives like that. There's men that go home from work and drink a beer, or and they start losing their manliness, and then they wonder why their partner doesn't want to sleep with them. And it's right there. But the feminization, they've been doing it slowly and slowly, little by little, making everything appear like as when being a womanly man is okay. They put it, they have snuck them into TV shows. They've snuck them into, they're not even sneaking them in anymore. Now they've blatantly made it obvious that they're over masculizing the females, and they're over feminizing the women. For example, when you look at pop culture, you got Harry Styles, who's one of the biggest pop stars in the world, and he's wearing dresses and blouses. And you got people so brainwashed where they're like, oh, I love the art behind that. No, there's
Yes.
this is brainwashing to the extreme at that point. I think there's pictures and videos of Brad Pitt in a dress, and then it starts showing you who's in this, who's part of this agenda of feminizing the men, because then you start seeing like, oh, this, just have to ask, why are they doing it? Why are these celebrities doing these really unusual behaviors? And intuitively you would ask questions, especially why. But most people do not ask that, and that shows me how damaged people's brains are, because when the brain's working, the brain wants to learn more. The brain is always information in formation. The more it's in the word itself. But you even have, I I work at a job in Times Square, so we get a lot of males that come in. I wasn't even going to say men because I can't even call them that. And we got painted nails now, like pink and orange and different rainbow colors. Uh, I don't understand this neon hair thing. It's not to insult them. It's just I don't personally get it. I don't understand why you're making your hair look like a highlighter. Neon green, neon pink, orange. It's really unusual. I don't understand it. I don't, because you're bleaching the top of your head. That's your crown chakra. That's your connection to source. You're bleaching that with toxic chemicals to the point where I've dyed my hair before, and that destroyed my hair. Now, like, my hair is practically down to my butt, and it's all the same color because I learned my lesson one time from coloring my hair. And it's it's just and then who else? There's Machine Gun Kelly. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a big pop star right now. He's wearing dresses as well. Then you got Lil Nas X, who's a rapper. He's the biggest like most popular rapper for the children, especially for the children. The children loved him because he did that one single Old Town Road and it went viral, and he used to perform it in front of kids, no problem, because it was a cowboy song. Nothing homosexual about it. But then he did that music video where he was twerking on the devil and giving a lap dance to the devil, and he also had those Satan shoes. And his biggest audience is kids. They're doing this to the kids. All the kids love Harry Styles. They come into the store because there was a Harry Styles tour, and there was just it's absolutely mind blowing. It's crazy too because I'm on the opposite spectrum where I'm building my manhood more and more every single day, while others are just decreasing. So it's like I don't want to say less competition because that's what some of my friends say is, hey, at least there's less competition, but it's like that's not the point. It's just it's getting so bad, like really bad.
Okay, give us your, in a nutshell, why they are doing this. What is the reasoning behind the agenda to feminize men?
They hate humanity and they want to destroy the beautiful bond between a man and a woman. There's nothing more attractive than a man being a man with a woman being a woman. There's nothing more. It is so harmonically perfect to how the divine has created us. And we see it from a reflection from our parents, from how we were raised. Because when, as a child, we see the beauty of the relationship between father and mother, for the most part. You also see it like all around, like with love. But when they take that love away and they break everything up, you're creating distortion. That's why I believe they're doing it, because it's a distorted energy, which is their goal is to distort our energies. Distort meaning instead of aligned, misalign it and destroy it. So how do you do that? If you make the opposites of make the males more female, make the females more male. That way they get so confused because if you get the woman to do all the roles of a man, most of the time she don't want to do all those roles. She don't, that's they don't want to do the construction working jobs. They don't want to do the plumbing jobs. They don't want to do that. And you got like really, I don't want to say stupid, but you got real people who are like, no, women should be allowed. They should be just as equal as men. They should be able to do everything that men. No, men are good at what men are good at, and women are good at what women are good at. It's that simple. Everyone's overcomplicating it. And yeah, so I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I mean, ultimately, I feel it's just to weaken, because men and the natural harmonics in relationship are powerful. That's what brings we the people together. Powerful relationships, powerful men, powerful women in our natural dynamics. And of course, once you weaken that, you're weakening their greatest threat, basically, and then they can control us. I mean, that's how I see it in a synopsis. Okay, moving on. Have you got anything else to say around that, Syed and Wasim? Okay. The power of semen retention.
Oh, I just realized that that's really controversial for a lot of people. For some reason, people get very angry when you discuss how you should keep it in. And I believe the reason why people get so angry is because if you've made such a change that is so different from society, it's basically you're breaking away from the matrix so much that there are Agent Smiths coming out trying to bring you back in or trying to troll you or disrespect you because you're able to break out, but they're not able to break out. Just because you can conquer your addiction and they can't, they think that they can just bring misery loves its company. And that's a fact. But what they're saying is, oh, it's very, the argument is, no, you should be able to release it. it's really good for your body to release. Yeah, there's times it's good to release. There's times, but not all the time.
Mm.
You got to keep some of that, and you could still be a very, very manly man and release. But if you're going to release, should be intimately with a woman, not from watching a screen of fake, like fake intercourse, and just living in fantasy la la land, depleting your energy because it's so accessible. The fact that it's so accessible shows how much it controls everything.
Mm. Yeah.
My personal opinion, fast food, the food industry and the sex industry are the two biggest things that control this world, because they're root chakra based, which is survival and reproduction. So that's fear. When you're fear, it's the survival. It's actually survival because you're not going to reproduce when you're in fear, but they both intertwine. So
Where would you direct a man who wants to find out more about semen retention, and where would you suggest that he start exploring the subject? Like, do you just have to delve in? How long, do you go for? Do you do it in short increments, or do you just say, I'm going to stop now?
if you say you're going to stop now, it usually doesn't work. That's not how people stop addictions. It's usually when you change yourself so much that you become that person that doesn't do it anymore. You have to become that person. That's how you get rid of addictions. You have to change the brain over and over again, because that's the fastest and quickest and most easiest way to change yourself without having to go through the hard work of shit. What do I have to why am I struggling with this addiction so much? Just change the brain. One of the subliminals that people can listen to involves semen retention, because that's called brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is the keeping the power within. Because if you think about it, right, you look at the human body, it looks like a tree because you got nerves, which look like roots, and they all start from the root. The root is the seed of life, semen. So what do you do with that? You keep it in. When you keep it in and you're not, because the problem is people are ejaculating too frequently and too often. That's the problem. And when you're doing that so much, you're depleting. And when you're depleting, you're not letting it do what it does. It has specific nutrients in it. It actually helps with muscle building. It helps with your whole body, your energy. When you're not releasing, you have more energy in the day. You can do more things. You also get a really nice glow on your face. It's true. So the best way is to go on YouTube and look up semen retention and look up the benefits, because looking up the benefits is very motivating, especially when you hear how amazing it makes you feel and how godly it makes you feel too. It makes sense that it's godly because you are God, and to have that creation power inside you in your testicles, that's powerful. And you're able to keep it in long enough, a couple days or so, you'll start to feel tingling down there, and it's not a horny sensation. It's actually like energetic pulsing. And then when that happens, it feels so good. It starts shooting up, and that's when you use that creative energy, and you are able to manifest your dreams because you have the energy to go out and do the things needed to
Right.
make that happen.
You're retaining your creative energy instead of
There you
releasing
go.
it.
You're retaining your creative energy. And when you keep it in, you have to use it, because most people, they ejaculate because they're like, oh, I have too much energy. What should I do? Time to put on the porn.
Right. So
So
go on, please.
go ahead.
Now, are you suggesting, so instead of releasing, like, what other creative, if a man's like, okay, well, so what do I do to create otherwise? Like, where can he start? Is it, delving into his mission or creative arts or any of the above? Can you give him any tips at that point to redirect his creative energy?
I think when you get rid of all the toxic things that distract you, you're able to, once you get away from all the things that bring you down, if you sit with yourself enough, you will find the things you love to do
Okay.
naturally.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
is there really an explanation needed for that? Because you're being who you're meant to be, because you're no longer distracted by everything around you. So when you get rid of, that's why they say remove the toxicity, remove the toxic friends, remove those toxic habits, and you'll start to see your life transform. Because a dog never has a problem being a dog. A cat never has a problem being a cat. But I bet you if you programmed it and gave it shit food its whole life and you made it watch like horror films all the time, I bet you would traumatize that dog and it would go against the natural rhythm of what it's supposed to do because
Yeah,
of brainwashing.
yeah,
You get
great.
rid of get rid of the brainwashing, you'll be able to figure out what your creative life force is and what it's capable of.
Mm.
But a big way to help is the subliminal programming. You listen to it every morning when you wake up, go on YouTube, look up semen retention subliminals, listen to really, there's a very good channel called Maitreya Fields. They have very, very good, like 10-minute videos. If you want to
So
write it
could
down,
you please spell that again?
Maitreya space Fields on
Okay,
YouTube. It's a
I'll
very
drop that link
it's a
below.
very good channel, and they have Greek God Beauty, they have semen retention, unleash your power, they have raise your vibration, they
Is
have
it for
energy.
women as well?
They have ones for women as well.
Okay, great.
So there's unisex ones as well. They're very good. I don't know if you've ever played around with subliminals.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
amazing. It takes a while because you're changing your beliefs. So if you don't believe in them, you're gonna have to listen to them over and over, even if you don't think it's working, because eventually you will think it's working because you're changing it. And yeah, so overall, semen retention will allow you to bring, and also if you are gonna climax with a woman, there's ways to learn tantric orgasms, which is internal orgasms. So instead of during ejaculation, instead of if you squeeze the pelvic muscles, you have to really, really exercise your hips. You have to learn to build your hips. If you're able to, it's that muscle that stops a man from urinating. If you're able to squeeze that well and strong, it shoots in a different direction and it can actually give you a full body orgasm that lasts for about maybe 2 to 4 minutes. It's absolutely insane and it's powerful. It's kind of like a Kundalini awakening.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very. I've done it twice, which is really cool. And I encourage men to look into that because the real power of men lies when you get rid of all these toxic behaviors and you start following your journey of being a man.
So powerful, such great information. Thank you, Wasim. Okay, how to build testosterone.
How to build testosterone. One of the before I start that, one of the coolest things that I've noticed that changed significantly over the course of these past few years, especially with increasing testosterone, is the male voice, how the voice deepens. And that happened to me. And it even became noticeable at one point where I used to have a very high pitched voice, which is very, very crazy, wild. And I'm very grateful for the voice I have now. So that's one of the benefits of testosterone. It deepens the male voice and makes it more masculine, which is great. And so, how to increase your testosterone? Besides eating testosterone boosting foods, um, the, there's people out there that eat. Well, if you're non-vegan, I'll start with that. The highest source of increase, one of the number one testosterone boosting food, if you look it up, number one always comes out as oysters. And oysters, because their zinc content is so incredibly high, it's also a bioavailable source, so your body actually uses it versus certain other problem with eating so many different types of plants is that your body doesn't have the nutrient, not the nutrient, the enzymes to break down those specific plants, because plants have phytic acid in them. It's basically a chemical that disrupts whatever eats it. It's its defense mechanism from being eaten, which is fascinating. But oysters are really, really good for increasing your testosterone. It increases sperm count like crazy, increases sperm mobility. When your zinc is higher, your testosterone's higher. So foods that are very high in zinc will increase testosterone, increase muscle, increase just everything that makes a man. That's one. For the people that eat meat, grass-fed, grass-finished meat is very effective as well. For people that don't eat meat, though, oh wait, vegetarians can have eggs. Eggs are very good for testosterone boosting as well with the vitamin D. Oh, vitamin D, sunlight. Sunlight's very, very good for increasing testosterone. Extremely good, especially to the point where I encourage everyone to get it on their privates. It's very important to get sunlight on your privates. If you have a private window where the sun comes in, the sun gonna shine where it doesn't shine, and that helps a lot because it's sunlight that's going to the seed of your
Yeah.
body. It's your root chakra, and it gives you energy down there as well. And it really does increase your testosterone. Vitamin D is a hormone. It's not necessarily a vitamin. It really does so many things in the body. Salmon's a big one that increases testosterone. Sardines are another one. Vegans can have pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are so high in zinc. They're so rich into boosting testosterone as well. But sprouted pumpkin seeds, because when they're sprouted means that they've already started to blossom a little bit. There's more nutrients in it when it's sprouted.
So excuse me, can I say something? You were talking about increasing testosterone. And as a woman, I'm here thinking, well, what happens if I eat those? I mean, obviously, I know, I have some testosterone, but I don't necessarily want to increase it, do I, as a woman?
Actually, I don't know too much about that, but I know it's very healthy for a woman to increase her testosterone because you won't be able to increase it as much as a man, but the amounts that you're able to, the zinc is also very good for regulating hormones as well. So if it's doing one thing for the male, it's also very good for the female as well for her fertility, because oysters are apparently really good for fertility. I did not know that, but it would make sense because they're apparently really good for like the root chakra and for sexual energy. And another thing that's good, there's specific herbs that are really good for testosterone. Maca root. Maca root is a great one for testosterone. Shilajit. Shilajit is a goo that comes from the Himalayas. It's called Himalayan shilajit. It's a black goo. You take a little bit of it, you put it on your tongue. They also have little small capsules of it. They increase your testosterone so much. They're one of the best testosterone libido boosting supplements that you can take. Ashwagandha is also a very good one to build testosterone. What else?
Are you able to write the names of these down and so I can add them in the description, please? Thank you.
I'll definitely do that. You really care about your viewers. And that's really good. That's very, 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 very good. And you're doing a really good job at this, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Very well.
I know you're limited for time, but I really would love to take the opportunity, if I may, to talk directly about masculinity and Islam, if I may, because you said that's your background, right? So have you got anything to add around that subject?
What's so interesting is I am not religious. I actually went away from all that 4 years ago, because when I started to dig into more research of the religions being man-made, I questioned a lot about religion growing up. That's one thing I did not mention on this, which is so interesting. There were so many things I questioned because I never understood why the Islamic teachers that I had were very obese. I never understood that. And I always asked that question, like, why are they so out of shape? And I saw how they would eat. They would They would eat with their hands. They would always get it on their beard. I'm like, this is nasty. I'm a kid and I find this nasty. Like, this is not like how can you say that God would like this? Like, you're spilling everything everywhere. Like, that's gross. Like, you're a human. You have the ability to consciously eat, which is another thing a lot of people don't do. They don't consciously eat. They're always distracted when they eat. So Islam, I know Islam is it has there's peaceful guidelines in it, just like Christianity and all that as well. They all have their good. But personally, for me, I think that a majority of religions get you trapped and enclosed where you're not able to reach your full potential. Religion can help in that aspect, maybe for some people. I can't answer for everybody, but I do genuinely believe in Christ consciousness. I believe that this whole thing about how people love and praise Jesus, that's cool. That's really great. I don't know why he's getting worshipped so much, because I don't even think Jesus wanted to be worshipped. I just know that in a sense of an enlightened being would not want recognition or praise. Because even when people tell me they love me or my video that you said you follow me, I appreciate that. I am not seeking the praisal. That's not why I do it. I do it because I know my information is worth, because it's changed my life and made me happy. So it's like, hey, you want to be happy? I see where people are messing up. Here's something that may help you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I probably didn't clarify. I was more after maybe a culture, if there was anything cultural, just because I haven't interviewed anyone before, a man that's got maybe Pakistani Islamic background, but more as a cultural thing. Is there anything that needs to be said around the cultural aspect of Pakistani Islamic background and men?
So if you look at what's interesting, Islam apparently is a very beautiful religion. I don't know too much about Islam itself, but I know that there's beautiful aspects of it. But if you look at the culture of most religions, religious cultures, where things start to get a little twisted, especially because it's a very male dominated culture. When you look at the rules that men have versus the rules that women have in Islamic countries, that's wrong, in my personal opinion. Like, women aren't, I don't know if that rule is still applied, that women are not allowed to, I know in Saudi Arabia, I know that there's this rule that if a woman is out without her husband or her brother, like, she can get in trouble for that. Like, you need to get like approval for that. Like, that is a load of shit to me, in my opinion. And I would say that because when you have too much religion, people can use that as power, as an excuse for power. And that's when the abuse happens. And I've seen that a lot, where the men in Islam, because they're so restricted from sex, they become actually addicted to the sex. They have crazy demons. And then they marry somebody that is young, like a young girl, because they're not getting laid. So they marry a village girl and they treat her like garbage. And she becomes like a trophy wife, or ends up becoming like a slave to him. See, that I've seen that negative side to it as well. But of course, that there are beautiful religious people as well that don't disrespect their partner. It all goes back to disrespect and respect, the element of respect. Like, and in Pakistan, I know that a lot of the men have more power over the women. Women don't have much of a say in a lot of things. And I don't like that, but I do believe that men take the leading roles, and it helps in whether it's a family or any of that type of structure. The men tend to be better leaders, but at the same time, they're nothing without their queen. That's why in chess, the king can only move one space at a time, but a queen is the most powerful piece. It can go everywhere on the board. But you lose the king, it's game over. So
Fascinating. Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go on,
Go ahead.
please.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, out of also transparency, my ex-husband has an Islamic background, so you know I am quite connected to the culture there. So you know, thank you for giving us that insight as well. Was there anything else you wanted to add around that topic?
I think if it's very important to question everything. Always ask questions because things don't seem right. You feel it inside you that something is wrong about it, and you have to ask questions and then figure out, especially if it's a religious thing, you got to find out if it's religious or if it's cultural, because there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah.
And some of these most religious places, they have the most vicious laws, vicious penalties. So it makes you think. It's like, are you really about the divine love creator? Because it seems more like a power thing. I'm not about that power stuff. Unless we have really good leaders that are, you know, making an impact and making people better.
Love it, love it. And yeah, that's a whole nother subject, but I know we'll start to wrap up now, Wasim. So where can people find you? And after that, I'll ask you to deliver a final message for men.
I feel like a lot of women watch your show as well. I definitely know that that's the case.
Yeah.
Majority of the truthers in this community are women. It's fascinating.
Our men are rising, and this
Men
is,
are,
you
men
know,
are, but a lot of men are also being exposed. There's a lot of things coming out where people, it's just crazy. It's crazy how the universe exposes things. But overall, men are rising. There are becoming more influential men out there that are really taking their steps, and it's powering the men, and I do believe that.
healthy power,
Oh,
grounded masculinity, as opposed to wounded, controlling power.
yeah, that's
Which
abusive.
is force. I mean, there's a great book by I've got it there somewhere. Is it Richard? Oh, whatever. It's force versus power, and the force is external, and the power is internal. The best book, I'll put the link below, but well worth a read, and really explains well the frequency of emotions as well. But please go on.
Actually, that was the end of my statement there.
Okay, so where can people find you, Wasim?
So my channel is called I'm Just Wasim. It's IMJUSTWASIM. You can find me on, that's my Instagram and my TikTok and my Telegram. That's where I post my content. I also post a lot on Facebook. I changed my name on Facebook because I got 2 of my accounts taken away for my interviews with Jason Q. So it's all good. I mean, it was bound to happen, but it's just crazy, and they didn't give it back, but it's okay. So if you look that up, I think my name's spelled WASEEM, and then the last name's SAYEED.
Yeah,
On Facebook.
I'll put it all down. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And YouTube is just I'm Just Wasim, but they're all spaced out. And I'm going to be doing a lot more videos now I'll be doing grocery hauls very soon to basically help people when I'm in the grocery store. I'll show you, hey, I'll help vegans, non-vegans, everything, because a lot of these foods, whether it's vegan or non-vegan, they put a lot of crap in the food. And I'll be exposing that. So it'll be very fun for people. Also be having cooking videos soon. I wanted to do like smoking cannabis meditation videos, but I don't think I'm allowed on YouTube to do that. So I gotta find a way. I also do headstands. I could teach people how to do headstands. I'm also going to be doing workout videos very soon. Just a lot of things are coming.
Yeah. And your content is great. It's precise. You know, some are very short and you get the message instantly, and some are longer that, you know, there's a lot more detail coming out. And, you know, you're on a variety of platforms now. I mean, I'm on Facebook, but I know, you know, you're on Instagram and TikTok, and you often transfer that information over to Facebook. But you are definitely a rising star in the video creator truther movement. So I want to thank you for all your content and amazing research into these products, because as you've said, if you had to say one thing to change, it all comes down to food, right?
It's
So
what you're consuming, and then that's what you're consuming orally, but what are you watching, what are you listening to? Those things matter as well. And I have to give you a very, very, very big thank you for multiple reasons, a plethora of reasons. But I'll start with, I like that word, plethora. I learned that in high school. I didn't really learn a lot of things in school, but that was one of the words I was like, this is a cool word, I'm going to learn this.
it is, yeah.
uh, and I can definitely say thank you so much. So right now, I did put a post up on Facebook, which you did see, but I'm at the point in my life, this is where it's so fascinating. I went through the broke phase, the dark phase, and I'm at the phase now where life is really like blossoming, but it's exponential increase now. So I'm going from like, I feel like I'm going from the rags to riches story. And I feel like I'm in the rags to that phase.
Yeah.
And it's very, very exciting. And I'm documenting all this because I want to show people, hey, if I can get out of this, anyone can get out. Because currently, and I'm not going to change my face for this, because I'm going to see this as an opportunity instead of a reason to be sad. I work in my family business 6 days a week in Times Square, New York. I'm there every morning. I'm there pretty often, and I do it to help the business. I do it because it's the reason that I was able to have all the things I've had my whole life, because of my amazing parents and the business that helped basically financed everything. So I found the joy in working there. And but spiritually, it doesn't paint my soul. It doesn't paint the canvas of my soul. And there's been obstacles with everything I'm doing, because as I keep spreading my message, there's more and more of the matrix trying to hold me in and keep me in there. So in the family, there is the idea of me taking over that business and working there the rest of my life. My imagination and my heart says otherwise. So my goal is to share the information with so many people, to the point where it helps so many people, that the divine allows me to build my finances to the point where I can leave that job and leave Times Square. I have to get out of New York. That's not a joke. Like, if people want to hear a little bit of comedy, I'll give you a little bit right now. We have had crazy situations outside of our store. We literally had a homeless man. They're homeless men that choose to be homeless. We have to bring that into, people need to understand that, because people feel very, very bad for these homeless people. That's one thing. But if they have the opportunity to get out and they choose not to because they actually prefer to do this, that's different. And a lot of them are very strong drug addicts. So they choose this life and they want to. We had one take a dump right in front of our store. Yeah, it's not very appealing, but they started to smear it as they crawled away on their booty. Like, that is absolutely, that's not even one of the craziest things that has happened there. We've had really crazy situations. Luckily, God has protected me from these situations. But little by little, I'm like, I pray and I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here. I will get out of here. I am going to get out of here. So, and then I put up links for people to donate, and I had no idea the amount of love and support. I had no idea people really loved my videos that much. Like, it kind of just baffled me, because that was not the intention. the intention was just to help people, but people were like, "Oh, your videos have really helped me make better decisions," and people have even donated to me, and that was mind blowing. Even you did, and you sent me a magic number, which is 111. I appreciate you so much. Like that meant so much in my heart. My heart swelled up with just so much gratitude and appreciation, and just I was like, just somebody who doesn't even know me really supports my journey of just wanting to. I don't think it's selfish for me wanting to leave. It's just I'm destined to leave.
Yeah.
And when I leave, I'll be able to make way more content faster. And it'll be like, I have a business partner who's my roommate, who's my best friend, and we talk about this all the time. We're like, soon, dude, our yacht will be on the yacht. We'll just be like celebrating like on how happy we were that we changed people's lives, and we still get to do it. Now let's get ready for our podcast because this is like our 100th episode. Like things just just thank you so much to you. I thank you like for everything, like the opportunity for me to speak here, because I haven't really told my story that much because I don't really like to make things about me. But you were willing to listen, and uh, this is that's just makes me really, really, really happy, and just I thank you so much from the bottom, not bottom of my heart, from all of my heart. And
Oh, well, we create our reality. I thank you so much. I receive your gratitude, but it's also that we create this. I was once in a situation where, people helped me financially. And it's what you said about you have to give to get. Now, whether it's in a create, it doesn't have to be money, it can be in a creative sense. But you have to give something. You have to get out of that sense of lack. And if you can't give financially, you've got other talents, some way you can give back. And so, yeah, you are going to be huge in the movement, and so important now, especially around food and other toxic, habits and relationships we have with people in the external world. So thank you so much, Wasim.
I also want to just say maybe this is one of the final things I can say, but maybe like what can build a relationship? Let's say you're in one and you want to make it stronger. What's a really good way as a man to or a woman to build it? And I could give you my favorite answer. And this worked for me. This always worked for me. Every single day, I always show appreciation and gratitude to the love of my life. I thank her every single time I wake up. I will write a genuine message. They tend to be similar messages, but overall, it's just I'm appreciating you more and more every single day. Like I love you more and more every day. There's so many like heart emojis. There's so many stuff like that because I'm just happy. And the gratitude, there's nothing stronger in my opinion. It's one of the ways to raise your vibration so fast. So if you really wish to make your relationship better, if it's you're going through obstacles or you guys are going through a rough patch, maybe you should just sit down with your partner and just your woman, your man, sit down and just tell them how much you really, really are thankful for them. Instead of thinking about all the things that make you so angry about them, why don't you think of all the things that make you really, really grateful for them? And if you express that, you will see a very, very big shift in the person you speak to. And that is one of the biggest, amazing powers of the universe. And I would like to know your answer to that could help people as well. What would you say is your favorite way to build a relationship, not only with an intimate partner or even just anyone? Well, actually, yeah, an intimate partner. What would you say would be your favorite way?
Well, gratitude is a huge part of it, and it probably would be my number one too. So I'll think of something else. Gratitude, appreciation, understanding them, listening, learning to listen, which
Oh,
I haven't always been this good at. I'm always, formulating the next thing I want to say or used to want to say, I'm not listening to what my partner was saying. Just slow down time and listen and really hear. And, you know, this series has taught me to listen, because I know the focus is on the men and not on me. So apart from me throwing in a few questions or maybe clarifying or, you know, throwing in a little opinion here and there, and there's been a couple of men like yourself who have, you know, redirected questions to me, which is great. I love that leadership. I am here to listen, because the whole series is about men delivering to men, not me saying what I think men should be. So I'm here to listen, and it's really, really cultivated my awareness of how important listening is.
However, if I may add, the one thing that's also making this very unique for you is that not only are you letting the men lead this, but you're getting questions from these men that, in order for this to be at its 100%, your input is important. That's why I brought it to you, because it's not like this is, like you said, it's not about you in that aspect. However, your answer is extremely important because it dances with my answer. It coexists with my answer, because the appreciation, the gratitude was one thing, right? Had you have not said what you said, we did not even talk about the fact of listening, how important listening is. So because you had you have not brought that up, we wouldn't have brought that up. And that's one of the most important. I would have said that easily as number two. Number two is definitely being able to listen, because at the beginning of our relationship, I used to interrupt my wifey all the time, and she would just stay quiet.
Yeah.
And if she wasn't upset, she was just quiet, like because I interrupted her, and then I became aware of it, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then I told her, I'm like, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. And then she told me, she's like, she started laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? She said, baby, you interrupt me all the time. And I was like, I do? She goes, yeah. What, you never noticed? And I'm like, no. That's why I love being in my relationship, because a woman will bring out what you need to work on. She'll make you aware of what you're unaware of. And that's what she has done with me for the past 5 years. She has improved me and has been my best personal trainer in that aspect. And I believe that it's the other way around too, because she tells me the same thing. She's like, you've made me a better person as well.
Definitely.
So your opinion matters. So even though you're very humble with that, accept that your knowledge and value is really, really, really important as well, because you've been interviewing all these men. So you have all this knowledge. It's only powerful if you apply it. It's only powerful if you share it, and it really is. And so maybe that will make you feel better about answering those type of questions, because it's great, because your answer is so brilliant, and then that shows me a lot about your character as well. It shows me a lot about you. You're able to listen, and at the same time you're able to speak, because listening is one thing, and my roommate is a very, very phenomenal listener, but I know how to get him to speak, because he don't speak much. And if I have to get it out of you, I will bring out that fire in you to get you to answer the question, because I will ask you a very, very deep question that will intertwine with what we're speaking about. This is very advanced communication, but you correlate with it. You understand it, and this is dancing on that vibration.
I love that. And I love people that can do that to someone who maybe holds back a little bit. You know, there's nothing, I think, more beautiful. Well, not everyone likes to be dug into and asked those deep questions, but I think this is why, you know, it is important to have a certain quality of man on this show, one that doesn't mind being authentic and me asking, because I have to really admire the men that come on this one, because you know, you're not just going to be talking about your truth of stuff or your favorite subject. You know, you're putting yourself here in a state of strong vulnerability, knowing that I'm going to dig deep into your private life. So I've got so much admiration for you and for the men that are doing this, because it's only by showing this authenticity and not and moments of maybe weakness in your past that now have developed as strengths, that you are able to help other men that are in that situation. And every man is so different and bringing different aspects to it. It's just amazing. And you are where I find the page, I think you're 29. Number 29 Heart Warrior. You'll always be our number 29 Heart Warrior. Yes. So that's an 11.
It was 11, and 11 is my birth month. So November 1. So.
And you were like supposed to be in a few weeks, but a space was created. What's the date today in Australia? Oh, it's the 23rd. So it's the 22nd with you. That's another 11. So yeah, meant to be. Love it. Love it. Well, yeah. Is there anything else that needs to be said for this conversation? Because I must say, I'm so honored because Wasim came on, he's had a huge day at work. He's got a huge day tomorrow. And he said to me, I'll probably just be able to give you an hour. Well, we've been running for, what's that? What time we start? We've been running for an hour and 40 minutes. So is there anything else that needs to be said in this conversation? A message to men, anything around masculinity, your journey, and then we'll be able to wrap up.
I think if you really need help with something, pray and ask God. It helps. Be genuine when you ask. Like, when you really ask from the heart, and that's when you're really broken, you will. Like that, like sometimes you got to go through all that to really connect. Because another thing you see is that this awakening has really showed us the devil exists, which shows that God exists. So that's wild. It's just insane. So asking in prayer. I forgot who said this, but you're asking as king, like it's in the word itself. I think Charlie Freak said that. I'm not sure, but that man is brilliant.
Who's that?
Charlie Freak.
Oh yeah. I missed it when you just broke up. Yeah, well, I've done an interview. I don't know. You've seen the last one I did with him. I've never been so mind blown. Wasim. He just threw the whole new level of truth on everything we thought we'd learned the past couple of years as new truth. He's taken it to a whole new level for us too.
Well, we're genetically evolving. All of us are evolving. Yes. We're becoming better and better. And if you allow it, it's going to be incredible. Because I see the people in the Matrix, they're still stuck in it. They're so stuck. It doesn't bother me anymore, but it's just like, all right, I'm clearly in a simulation. But I know that this whole thing is a patience game. I get that. Life has taught me patience so much. But there's really good things coming. There's really, really, really good things coming. And it's very exciting. I never go into the politics. I don't go into that type of stuff. The reason why is because there's better people out there that know how to speak about this. But what I can say is living in peace, living in love, living in a very high vibration of everything is getting better. There's nothing to worry about. That's why researching and asking questions and doing your research really, really helps, because you get more clarity. And when you get clarity, life becomes clear. And when life becomes clear, you realize that you're on just a roller coaster. You're not driving the train. You're basically on the ride. Yeah. That's your life. And I think it's beautiful. So those last words, the final words, are basically live your life, learn to love, find yourself, reprogram your mind. That helps. Fix the foods and reprogram your mind. the two most important things you can do first. That'll help you with your health, that'll help you with your body, and it will help you with habits, like bad habits you have. So the subliminal reprogramming, we're gonna put the links below, like you said. So I'll give that. If also, like I said before, thank you for donating to me. I really still do appreciate that. And if anyone does wish to donate, I can give that information later. But just thank you. Seriously, just thank you so much. The gratitude is just it's very, 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 very high right now.
Likewise. We've all got a piece of the puzzle, right? And we're all coming together. We've all got a unique piece. I can't do what you're doing with, with the articulation and well, I mean, I don't say I can't, but it's not my passion to do what you're doing. But this now is my passion and expansion, and it's just uniting us. This is how we, the people, are doing it ourselves. To clear ourselves out, let the divine work through us, through our creative force, and all our little creations are uniting to create our new earth.
It's only going to get better.
Yeah. So. Woo! Thank you so much, Wasim. I'll get this uploaded, and I will rewatch it and check I haven't missed any of the links. They might not all be in there to start with, but we'll do our best. And then when I rewatch it, I'll check we haven't missed any. Thank you so much for watching. If you could like, share, subscribe, and I will be back in a few days with another episode of Heart Warriors. Thank you, Wasim.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.